Every night it's all the same, reliving my darkest shame. 'Cause I'm never free from this addiction, affliction, addicted to my misery. I cannot detox from this condition, conviction, addicted to my misery box. Oh, I'm never free from this addiction, affliction, addicted to my misery. Cannot detox from this condition, conviction, addicted to my misery box. Now your fate is where I bled. You took the weight inside my head, took my loss, bore my cross, walked my miles so that I might smile. Gave your heart, paid the price that I should pay. Now there it is, you stay forever, ever locked away. Should feel sane, should feel whole, but your pain is in my soul. 'Cause I'm still never free from this addiction, affliction. And now it's yours, but still in me. I cannot detox from this condition, conviction. You're inside my misery box. I'm still never free from this addiction, affliction. Now it's yours, but still in me. Cannot detox from this condition, conviction. You're inside my misery box. I don't deserve you. You stay true. I want to save you from my misery. You couldn't save me from my misery. I'm addicted to my misery box, addicted to my misery box.
Oh, well, good morning, Best Chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Delicious Morning Nonsense Chat. We hope you enjoyed yesterday's special episode. Fantastic episode. Hello to you, chat. But welcome back. We're at it again. We're going to go down a new route today. Going to have some fun. Going to have some laughs, hopefully. But here we go. Here we go and explore a few things. Going to go down a few roads that I think you will like. Check it out together, chat. All right. Dr. Chrisman. Hello, Dr. Chrisman says, great streamer today. Bet Stu kicking himself for missing. It's possible. Hello to Dr. Chrisman. Hello to you. It's Carlos Batista says, good morning, LD and Best Chat. Good morning to you, Carlos Batista. LD Hudson says, good morning, folks. I have always liked over-the-top fiction versus realism. It gives you more to work with in terms of the story, and it's just more fun, in my opinion. Realism can be kind of boring if it's used too much. I think so too. It's kind of like depending on the genre, it could really be like a breath of fresh air sometimes. Like, oh, it's interesting. Like, what if we had like a more grounded, more realistic version of Batman? And we got that with the Christopher Nolan films. But I don't think everyone wants that to be the grounded, the the main thing, like the main like the main Batman we go to is the real Batman. I don't think so. But it is kind of fun to take a break every once in a while from the fantastical nature of it and say like, what would it be like if it was more realistic? But I think we really want to go back to the fantastical Batman because it is way more fun in those terms. Um, However, it's like the whole thing of like if I'm watching 24, for example, I kind of want it to remain as realistic as possible, or at least grounded. I guess I guess we're going to see like what the difference is because it's grounded, but it isn't necessarily always realistic, right? It's kind of how it goes. It's like I guess that's where it is. It's grounded, but I mean, the show 24 can get pretty crazy. It can get pretty crazy. I mean, it's grounded. It feels realistic, but it get pretty crazy. It's a all right, chat. It's a little fence says praise be to LD Beshat and of course Space King. This episode of the Devil and Durags podcast is brought to you by. Let's see, chat. Hold on, 1 second here. 1 second here. Here we go. All right. Now, I have a special treat for everyone. Should we reach Pillarman? I have an extra video that I think you will enjoy. It's not really like a commentary video. It's more like a we watch and enjoy fan kind of video. But I think you'll like it, especially if you like Warcraft. But if we reach Pillarman today, chat, we will be able. We will have an extra video we watch at the end, and before we exit today. I think you'll enjoy. It's pretty impressive. Gunblade Knight says, good morning, LD and Best Chat. Praise be to Space King. To Gunblade Knight, to Up, Down, Down says, all right, didn't manage to watch Shady Direct Stream live. Was watching Michael, but I'm here. What's Michael? Like Michael Jackson? Is that the documentary? Just read a book with 4 separated glossaries. Hate page filler. That's pretty crazy. Let's see. All right, Carter Ketchel is looked at and Rumble chat. LG Carter Ketchel from Rumble here for White Pill Wednesday. Do we men get good stories only from places that respect us, which is like nothing. It's like no area except for indies. The indies do. Some of the indies anyway. There it's a real possibility. In the mainstream, it's like no, men are all evil and dumb and stupid. Just the thing they're going to keep hounding away at. Let's see, chat. Book column. Good morning. Good morning. Lynn says Jane Lane reminds me of several of my ex-girlfriends. I mean, just not surprising. She was like the icon, like the iconic cool of the 90s. Like that's what her character was. Zafino Nisha says, good morning, LD and Best Chat. I'll be prepared for that storm that is coming in the Gulf. I hope so too. That would suck. Even the Gulf of America. That's that Gulf you're talking about. That Gulf, the Gulf of America. Yeah. So, I mean, that it seems to be like it's gonna be rough, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I might lose power. But I will let you know if that down down says, hail chat and demonic duke of literary discourse, literature devil. Hello to you, up down down. Good morning. Contact says, hi all. I'm half watching, half listening. Things going quite well. Fantastic. Glad to hear that. Exceptionally well, actually, which is both great and terrifying. Fantastic. And also, yeah, it's like okay, if everything's going well, when do things start going bad? Junebug may cry. Good morning. Hello to you. Alone Fences. According to the Valiant Renegade, the Odyssey has a comically high break-even point and might still technically bomb. I mean, it was a very expensive film to make. So there is that, yeah. Lady Fastlot says, good morning, LD and Best Chat. Good morning to Lady Fastlot. Good morning. Hello to you. Let's see. Abdomen says, I've never seen Stu and JD Rex in the same call. Me neither. That is suspicious. TK Ultra says, they almost missed the morning nerd gathering. Hello to you, TK Ultra. Good morning. Where are we now? Shadow Wing Tronic says, good morning all. Everyone deserves better stories. Older, younger, man, woman, boy, girl. We all getting weak stories by service level people who can't believe in. I think we're getting service level stories by all these art bros and media literacy people. Like this, oh, you're media literacy. We got to make sure we have this thing where it's we got to spread awareness and stuff like that. So it's just how about you write a story? How about you write a story that's even decent? Lady Fastslot says the Odyssey is really a self-insert confession of Christopher Nolan. He is technically competent as a professional filmmaker. That's why I like him. I like most of his movies. Um, even if I didn't like him as much, it's like okay, I still find something fascinating about him. I still like his style. I like his style. But he lacks joy, imagination, and writing skills necessary to be great. It's kind of like it's really tough to do the Odyssey without leaning into the fantastic elements. Like you can do that with Batman, but you can't do all of it, right? You can only do a little bit of Batman if you're trying to be realistic. Which is why I'm not really sure I would watch an entire show about Christopher Nolan's Batman, but a trilogy was good. Well, hypothetically, a trilogy would be good, but the two movies were good. The third one, not so much. The third one was kind of cringe. It became a Catwoman simp movie. Well, actually, it became a simp movie in general because Bruce Wayne had his simp. He was simping for Catwoman, and Bane for some reason was simping for Talia al Ghul. I feel like they tossed her in the last second, but unfortunately, the third one not so great, not so great. But the first two really good, really really good. Let's see here, but I'm not really sure if I would enjoy like a whole like TV show or a whole comic book run of realistic Batman. It's good as like a break, a break from the norm, and a cool exploration to what could happen. But you couldn't do all of it, right? You couldn't really do Poison Ivy. Even with Bane, it's more like he doesn't have the venom, which is a big part of his character. It's more like he has painkillers that allow him to be strong, but he doesn't have the venom, right? So it's just you don't really, it's tough to do more characters from Batman because where else are you going to go? Like Poison Ivy, how would she fit into his world? You can use the Riddler because he's also kind of like realistic a little bit, right? You can also, he's probably the most realistic guy you can kind of put in Batman next. That's why it's kind of weird that it chose Bane and not the Riddler because the Riddler would be good. They used him for the Batman, the 2022 Batman, but they decided not to go. They decided not to go that route with the third Batman movie. It would be really fun though, like this ultimate battle of wits. It would have been pretty interesting, but they didn't. However, like what else could you do? Like there's like that Mr. Scarface guy. There's Scarecrow. I mean, they had Scarecrow in there, but he really wasn't all that much of a Scarecrow. Right? He wasn't. He kind of had that fear gas, and it kind of went everywhere, but it didn't. He didn't feel like Scarecrow. He had a mask. That's kind of where it ended. He's like a guy with a mask and a suit. That's kind of it. But it sounds like an idiot. So that's good. I know I'm glad he went at least that little fantastical, but even with the Joker was good. Like, that was like a really good version of the Joker, fantastic version of the Joker. But you couldn't really do all of the Joker because part of the Joker is not just the chaos, but also the goofy theatrical elements, like the smiling gas and his like Joker mobiles and stuff. You can't do all of it. You can do some of it, but you can't do all of it. And it's kind of the issue here where people like there's certain parts of Batman people really really like, and it's like all of Batman. People like kind of tend to like all of Batman, which includes the fantastic elements, the goofy nonsense sometimes. Just a Batman on patrol, and suddenly he has to fight a gigantic, crocodile man, things like that. It's fun. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. All right. So, but the thing is, the Nolan movies were acceptable because it was kind of a different outing, a different look, a break from the norm. But I think people would miss the fantastic elements after a while. I think they would. It's a Yamako. It says anime and mangas have good stories too that are our own imagination. Absolutely. That's why people are gravitating towards anime and manga. That's kind of like where a lot of creativity is allowed to thrive, and they're free to make what they want. It doesn't have to be the same stuff over and over and over again. Okay, well, we have to adhere to wokeness, so we can't have a man save a woman. The woman must be always smarter than a man. Men must be goofy and stupid. The story must be about how men are stupid, pigs, and warlike and violent, and all that stuff. We got to learn that even though men are evil pigs and violent rapists or whatever, we also have to invite hundreds of thousands of them from the third world. That part's the good part, apparently. Also, he must excuse all of the crimes that there's this horrendous crimes they commit when they get over here. We got to excuse that because that's an inconvenient truth. It gets in the way of the agenda that we can acknowledge and notice all of their horrific crimes, which is why Uwe Boll made Citizen Vigilante. It's a if as says Nolan is an AI program in a filmmaker's costume. He's very realistic, very narrow when it comes down to the elements he wants to add into the movie. I mean, he'll go crazy sometimes, like with Tenet, but yeah, he wants to be more grounded, very, very grounded as possible. Let's see. All right, ZZZ before Black Rabbit says, "Good morning, Letty and Bezjet. It's my birthday, and I'm working on transferring to my dream college to study film. Well, good luck to you, Black Rabbit. Fantastic. Well, and happy birthday to you as well. Oh, it's a fantastic birthday. Let me see here. Let me get this right. Where's the right clip here? I don't know. I can't find it. But oh wait, here it is. Here it is. Got it. Well, happy birthday to you, Black Rabbit. Happy birthday indeed. Hope things go well for you today. Hope it's a fantastic birthday, and hope you do get into that college that you want to. That'd be fantastic. Let's see. As far as Gounded, spell check LD. There are stories that should be myth, fantasy, sci-fi, and superheroes are not those genres. They live in a fantastic, not the normal world. Yeah, it's a super. To me, part of the superhero appeal is the wackiness and the goofiness, like as well as the serious drama, right? So it's not just about goofiness. It's not just about it has to be dark and realistic. It doesn't have to be just serious all the time. The entirety of the appeal of the superhero is serious and there's drama, but it's also goofy fun. As Neil Gaiman said a long time ago when he was talking about, he was speaking about stories and Terry Pratchett right after Terry Pratchett's death. He said one of the things that was admirable about Terry Pratchett was that he kind of proved that the opposite of serious is not funny. The opposite of funny is not serious. The opposite of funny is unfunny. So the whole idea is that you can be serious and funny. You can be serious and goofy. It's definitely possible. Have little goofy elements there, and it can also be a serious matter. So the idea has become that because if we want to be taken seriously, so we can have goofy elements in our superhero stuff. And you can see this. You can tell, like in the movies and everything, they all want to be taken seriously. So they kind of get rid of the goofier elements. They kind of resent. They can tell. They can see this. They kind of resent the costumes, right? The colorful costumes. Now everyone's in like drab, just dark colors and washed out colors. They don't stand that really at all, really, and it's all the colors are muted. And they just begrudgingly put them in uniform. They begrudgingly put them in costume, begrudgingly, and it's so telling. What's so embarrassing about this part? It's cool. People love superheroes because of their cool costumes and the colorful elements. But you can just really tell the craze of modern day Marvel, craze of modern day DC. They tend to dislike the colorful elements. Now, James Gunn was interesting because he doesn't really mind that, it turns out. It doesn't really mind the colorful elements of a superhero universe, which would kind of made him stand out and why I think, he drew so much appeal. But so many others do. They are embarrassed by it. They are embarrassed by the whole costume thing, and they kind of mock it. Like, oh, can you believe that I would wear this? No way. And it gets even worse because it's not about, oh, here's a more drab, boring costume. It's like, okay, we got to get him in street clothes. We got to have Captain America fighting in a hoodie and jeans, but with a shield. And that's kind of what they really want to have happen. And there's a reason why I mean, I think one of the reasons why Iron Man made such a great splash because not just because of the writing and the acting and everything, but it's memorable because he has to wear the costume. Right? Like Iron Man has to wear the costume. He's not. They can't be the hero without it. Kind of the same thing with Batman, Christopher Nolan. Like, Batman has to wear the costume because he's like this. That's his other part, right? That's him. That's his hero persona. As opposed to something like Steve Rogers, who is just Steve Rogers. He's Steve Rogers. He's Captain America without the costume. People kind of know who he is. Iron Man becomes Iron Man once he puts on the suit because that's where he gets all of his powers from. But you know, with Batman, it's with Batman, with Batman, Bruce Wayne is still Bruce Wayne. He's still Batman without the costume, technically speaking. But you have to have him in the costume or else it's not Batman. You got to have him in the cowl or else it's not Batman. With Steve Rogers, though, it doesn't really matter. I guess it doesn't really matter as much if he's wearing the costume or not. He's just running around as long as he has a shield. The shield is his iconic symbol. So as long as he has a shield, he can wear a hoodie and jeans. And they love doing that. They love having everyone wear this Walmart attire. Let's see. Wait, let that. A Taco American. Can you call it a Gulf of America with yes, because the American part. So if you well smack you in the chonkless, no, they came here for a reason. They wanted to go from a shithole country to a good country. So, yeah, hell yeah, Gulf of America, absolutely. Let's see here, chat. Nolan is overrated. I have never really been impressed by any of his movies. I mean, that's fair. It's fair. All right, chat. Introspective says, good morning, LD and Best Chat. Good morning to you, Introspective M. Good morning. Iki Translitev. And Anne Hathaway thought she was playing Harley Quinn. Oh, wait. Wait a minute. You mean in the Odyssey? Oh, wait. Or you mean in the third movie, Dark Knight Rises? Nathan says, Moses, dude, a Nolan film with Neil Patrick Harris as Riddler would have been amazing. That would have been amazing. Although that wasn't my go-to for the Riddler, but back when I was like, well, who's going to be the third villain, in the third movie? But that's a good choice, actually. Neil Patrick Harris as the Riddler. I could see that happening. He's a good actor. He's really good. My main go-to for the Riddler would have been Johnny Depp. Like that back then, we're like, okay, we're at movie 2, fantastic. Waiting for movie 3. Who's going to be the villain? I was hoping it was going to be the Riddler for 1, and 2, I was hoping it would be played by Johnny Depp. I think that would have been pretty cool. But Neil Patrick Harris, that's also a good choice. Let's see, chat. Bunser says apparently a KOTOR remake is actually happening. I'm worried about how it'll be ruined in the modern world of trash stories. Yeah, I think it's been developed for a little while. They're using like high tier graphics and stuff too. I think they're going to put in parts or something. I think they got rid of the turn-based combat or maybe not turn-based, but like the way they did combat. I think it's going to be more real time now. I think that was I think it was like a year back. Jeremy Tony says, I was watching a clip from the real BBC before the stream, and I think Disbrew noted the heroes of Nolan's last few movies, Oppenheimer, Batman, Odysseus, suffering from PTSD. It's a popular one. Trauma, PTSD, generational trauma, all that stuff. The modern day people really like that trauma. They really like their heroes with trauma. Up says the Hogfather is a perfect example of movie and book. Absolutely. Also, the other one, what was it called? The Color of Magic. I watched that one too. It's pretty funny. It's good stuff. It's fantastic. Because Terry Pratchett was an author before the dark time set in. Nix's Night 2. Morning, LD and chat. Happy Hump Day / Wednesday. Hello to you, Nix's Night 2. Good morning. Hurry now. Megathon. Good morning, LD and chat. I'm a little late as some fun with the classroom this morning. Hello to you, Megathon. Welcome. Orange Man, you see the news about Rotten Tomatoes score? Yes, they found it. So they said they were artificially bumping it up to keep it at 90% or something like that. It's really at an audience score of like 56. The Odyssey is really at an audience score on Rotten Tomatoes of 56%, as opposed to 97. Someone made a website showing the true score and how the data is twisted. Yeah. They need to be good. They need to be awesome. And it was I liked the movie overall, but it wasn't great. You know why? Because of the wokeness. It dragged it down. And not it's not just due to a matter of opinion. It dragged it down story wise, structurally. It just tossed in a shot of bitterness. If you're a hunter, right? One thing you want to know is like you want to note is that you don't want to scare the animal, right? It's like you don't want to scare it. You don't want to, some things you don't want to do to the animal so that it won't eject like some chemicals that'll sour the meat afterwards. It's like that. It's like it sours the entire construction of the movie. It sours the work when you have wokeness in there. It just makes it bad. But to me, what I've always said is that this is that wokeness is not a game ender. It does not necessarily destroy a movie's credibility or ruin it. Not necessarily. All depends on how much it affects the movie. But it's a more of a detrimental factor. So a great movie would be good with wokeness. A good movie might be bad with wokeness, or a good movie might be 50-50, with wokeness in there. It kind of takes away from it. So it would have been a much better movie, I think, or at least a Nolan movie, had not had to have the woke stuff in there or the feminist thing in there. But what's funny about that is that the feminist lady came out and she does not like the film. Actually, it was like that was pretty funny. Like all this stuff, like, oh yeah, we're using the feminist version of the film, and take that, Shuds. And then the lady who did the translation watched the movie and she said that's not enough. Oh man, it's not enough. It's just not enough. It's not enough, is it? Zeke Translitev. Remember when Tom Welling refused to wear the Superman costume for Smallville? Yeah, it's just they find it embarrassing. I guess they just find it embarrassing. Some men dream about being able to wear the Superman or Batman costume, for reasons other than to just because they want to. And some of these actors are like, no, I will never wear this thing, or at least I want to wear it as little as possible. Anyway, a timer base. Yes, timer base. I think they got rid of that. I think that's what it was. I think they got rid of that. I think they're gonna do like more real time combat. It's a Upton says, wait, inserting modern day insanity politics into stories make them bad? Crazy. Yeah, crazy, right? Crazy. If you want your story to be as pure as possible in its best form, do not put wokeness in there. Just don't. It's awful. And now everyone's bragging that this is a woke victory. It's not. Nolan is dragging woke politics across that finish line. It's not. It's weighing down his film. It's contaminating it. Are they going over the finish line? Maybe. It certainly has a lot of energy, but it's not because wokeness is helping it. Like wokeness is weighing it down. It just happens to be that Nolan has so much momentum that it's going to drag you across the finish line, as opposed to other movies that that are just effortlessly likable. And that's not saying that it took no effort to make them. It's saying that they came out and everyone just loved it so much that people kind of like spoke with each other and started spreading the word, and it's good without needing an army of journalists to convince you that it's good. So it's like you don't need like a war chest to dump into the media so that they can start convincing you and browbeating you into liking this one movie. Now, some movies are just good. Some movies are just good, and all those movies that are kind of good on their own tend to not be woke, oddly enough. Let's see, chat. Mr. Fat says thanks for the 41 months of support. Thank you very much. It was Christopher Reeve's suit specifically, so it was out of respect, maybe. Like I don't want to I don't want to wear the suit he wore or something like that. Let's see, chat. Let's see. I think we got everyone. Fantastic. Siege Guards, I saw a video from Australian sheep farmer about how she supposedly doesn't startle the sheep days before they go to slaughter. Yeah, because there's something there. Like if they're afraid or something like that, the fear, you could taste the fear in the meat. It sours it. And that's kind of what wokeness is. It sours the whole entire work. It doesn't necessarily ruin it completely, but it does make it feel, taste bitter. It does give it a bitterness, a hostility in there that it doesn't need to have, but does harm the flavor of the story and the integrity of it. Limp Bizkit says, excuse my tardiness. Good morning, LD and chat. LT Limp Bizkit, welcome, welcome. She's out, chat. She's out. So, as I said before, the feminist who wrote the feminist version of the Odyssey has come out and said she's not too happy about this whole thing.
What did you think about the film in terms of this notion of the Odyssey as an anti-war text?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought it. I want to, not spoil anything about the film because I know the majority of people haven't seen the film. I mean, the film has these flashbacks to the Trojan War. I'm not sure if I see it as an entirely anti-war film, but it certainly presents us with an Odysseus who feels very bad about certain things that he's done in war and is struggling to process them in a very, I would say, very modern psychiatrized way. And he's struggling to process them and needs drugs to do so for help with his recovery.
Right.
And he seems to feel bad about being a warrior, and we never actually get to see him doing much warrioring, which I thought in a way was a bit of a shame. I mean, we do get to see the boat, which is lovely, but I think in some ways, I mean, I was realizing, thinking about the film, there's a tolerance for ambiguity in the world of the Odyssey, which I don't think there exactly is in the world of Hollywood blockbuster action films.
Right.
And I think that's one of the big challenges for Nolan, right?
Yeah.
Is that he has to make the protagonist a likable all-American hero,
Right.
which is a real challenge if you're basing this on a poem where the hero is not necessarily motivated by romantic love or being a nice suburban parent, but actually he wants glory and he wants to get spoils from the sack of a city, which is, you'll see what Nolan does with all of that, but it's different things from what Homer does.
Right.
It's very interesting, and someone pointed this out, and it's just very weird that we have come to this moment where the feminist is the good guy. But someone seems to point it out. You can tell that she has a passion for the Odyssey, weirdly enough. And there was someone who made a commentary that I did not want to be true, but happens to be what seems to be true, going by my observations. And that is that this feminist made her Odyssey fan fiction out of love of the Odyssey, while Nolan made his fan fiction out of hatred for the Odyssey. And man, this is like once someone said that, like maybe actually, because you can hear that she actually does seem to like the Odyssey and understand it way more. And see, Lady Fazot says, of course, a feminist who never served, never been in actual combat would spit on her country's service members. Yeah, of course. Would know nothing about what goes on in the front lines. And also, we don't really get to see, as people kind of complain about, we actually don't get to see Odysseus do a lot of fighting or anything like that. He's kind of an idiot. We don't really get to see him do much of anything. He kind of just leads them into weird areas, and he kind of outwits Cersei a little bit, not much, but a little bit. And it's like you don't really get to see Odysseus being full broad Odysseus. We get to see him like shoot Polyphemus a little bit, but not that much.
I kept looking in vain for a sense that this was a film about glory. I think it's a film that has some interest in shame, but I don't think it has any interest in glory.
I was going to ask you sort of if there were any scenes from the book that you wish had been in the movie, or tonalities, or if you had written the screenplay, are there moments you would have loved to include?
I mean, this is a very different adaptation from any that I would have done. So yeah. I think but it is very much in tune with things that Nolan has been obsessed with.
Also, I have to say that Nolan should have known, right? It's like this. He should have known that no man can ever please a feminist, right? So, like that.
What did you?
My reaction is Nolan should have known a man could never please a feminist. He could have moved heaven and earth, and she'd scowl and complain that he didn't move hell too. So, I mean, that part's pretty funny because they're all getting all uppity about how it's a woke victory. Look, it's built on the feminist version of the Odyssey, and the feminist who wrote the version that it's based on doesn't like it very much. Boom, nuke from orbit, baby. And so Siege Garden says, guys, women don't know what they want until shown. I would say that if you're a writer, the audience doesn't either. They want a man to be softer until they're shown a soft man, and they want they're disgusted. It's like we from the start. Yeah, just like, oh, we want a soft, emotionally available man. Like then he does that, and then boom, here comes the ick. Here comes the ick. Because a man is not supposed to be an emotional crybaby. A man is supposed to be stronger. Men express their emotions differently than women. Women will just have a nice cry. They'll have to vomit up all their feelings and everything, and then they feel better. Well, a man can't do that. A man doesn't operate that way. A man will be like, all right, you know what? I'm angry. Let me go work out. Let me go punch the punching bag. Let me go work on my car. Let me go work on a thing that I'm working on. Like, let me go work on my latest project. That's kind of what how a man uses his anger or sadness or whatever. He dumps it into a project, whatever that might be. So, you know, it's just how it's just a difference. So that's why men, you know, when they get upset or like that, they kind of go off by themselves and they go work on something. Or women like, oh yeah, they kind of value the whole, oh, they need to cry and they need to express emotions through this incredible dramatic expressions of emotion, like crying or throwing a tantrum, something like that, you know, something like that, breaking down. And that's not usually how men handle it. Not usually. That's how women handle it, but it's not usually how men handle it. But anyway, chat, I thought it was kind of funny that just after all this bragging, like, oh, this running around victory laps, the feminists who wrote the Odysseys, this version of the Odyssey, did not like Nolan's film as much. He's disappointed. Anyway, chat. We're coming down to one of the first topics of the evening, of the morning, as you could say, which is stories for men. Young men deserve better stories. Don't check it out, chat. We'll check it out together. Now, if you remember, from the beginning of the stream, I said, if we reach prelim today, we'll have an extra video at the end that I think you'll all enjoy, because I thought it was pretty cool. So if we reach prelim by, if it's the minute, if it's 2 hours and 30 minutes and we hit prelim, we'll go ahead and extend the stream more, and we'll watch the video I have in mind together. I think you'll like it. It's pretty cool. But we got to reach prelim first, Jab. We got to reach prelim first. I guess I could put the goal up here. Let me see. I think actually, what was it? Anyway, I'll get it up here. A second here.
Look to the books.
The Page Master is about the boy we once were and boys that we've known. Risk averse.
8% of all household accidents involve ladders. Another 3% involve trees.
Uncurious.
Quite unpredictable world of books.
But I don't want any books.
But bursting with potential. It's a story about the men that we could still be. Looking back on this 1994 cult classic, it's remarkable to me how this underrated film tried to warn us about a rising culture of timid boys turning inward and gave us The Page Master, horror, fantasy, and adventure, a manifesto on why stories bring out the best in young men.
Fiction for a boy's imagination.
It was awesome. Like this, Doc Brown does a really good job in this movie. He's like, oh yes, you want fantasy. Like, if we had more librarians like that, I'm pretty sure we'd have more people reading.
Can take root and grow to incredible heights.
This really was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. Obviously, like that's probably is a surprise to nobody, but this really was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I watched this so many times. It was so good. I liked all the stuff here. Patrick Stewart as I also like Star Trek as a kid. So it's like Patrick Stewart as Adventure. That was pretty awesome. When I was a kid, I liked Whoopi Goldberg. I thought Whoopi Goldberg was pretty entertaining as a kid. She was she was in Sesame Street. She was in a lot of things I watched as a kid. She was what's her name? Shenzi in The Lion King, obviously. She was in a lot of things I quite enjoyed as a kid, and she's fantasy here. Then Patrick Stewart was adventure. Then we had horror, things like that. So it was really interesting cast And the storyline was cool. The main character was also Macaulay Culkin, which I also liked Home Alone, obviously. So like everyone else did. So everything is just so much. It was like a cauldron of things that I liked in this movie, and the adventure was really interesting as well. And it was in the character arc, because back then, they kind of require you to have a character arc, unlike today. But the character arc is like this timid guy who's like always obsessed with statistics, and they didn't it's too dangerous. Got over all that, and at the end, he's doing something that he said he would never do, which is hang out in this treehouse that his dad's building from. It's a David Musselman. They should have 20 gifted memberships. Thank you very much, David Musselman. Very generous indeed, David Musselman. Let me see. Let me give you the proper clip here, as is deserved. Here we go. Zawaldo. Thank you much, David Musselman. Appreciate it. All right. Welcome to 20 new members of the Lit Legion of Bridge of the Past shows and the custom emojis. But thank you very much, David Musselman. Very generous and a very large first step in today's goal. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Awesome. Hold on. That's the wrong one. I'll bring it up in a second here, chat. Here we go.
His courage is a wind that moves him to discovery.
Richard Tyler is a sign of what's to come in the 2010s. Children terrified of going outside, riddled by anxiety, and plagued by a clinical view of themselves.
Kids afraid of tuna fish sandwiches.
Mercury levels in the tuna.
Whatever. I signed him up for Little League. He drove everybody crazy with statistics about how you can develop tumors from being hit in the head with a ball.
Keep in mind, this is 20 years before screens and the internet took over everything. Still, he's obsessed with mortality statistics, and it's left his father confused and agitated. So he builds Richard a treehouse that he doesn't want.
You like it?
Yeah, it's great, Dad.
But then gives Richard a job to do.
And I would add David Musselman to the list of donors, but or producers. But you're already on there because he's just so generous. Thank you much, David Musselman, once again. But yes, we are nearly halfway there. With David Musselman's very generous donation of 20 gifted memberships, we are nearly halfway to today's goal. Thank you very much, everyone. Very generous. We're getting there. And I think you will like the extra video I have in mind, especially if you like Warcraft. And / fantasy. It's really well done. It's a fan film. That's why I really want to show it to you. It's a fan film. So it's like the future of the fans kind of getting together and making their own stuff, which will probably be better than the start being a lot better than the official stuff.
This is the most important and easy to miss beat in the story.
Here's something you can do. Go down to Gutman's Hardware.
It's okay, old. We all make mistakes. We were younger. I used to love Howard the Duck, but well, that's unforgivable. I mean, that's an unforgivable sin.
Store, buy a pound of these.
Dad.
Son, you can't live your life based on statistics. You've got to take some chances.
Richard is given a responsibility, a task to do for the family, and it's not presented as an option or a question.
You can do this.
Richard obeys and leaves decked out in protective gear. He's mocked by the local kids who are outside jumping their bikes over construction equipment, experiencing genuine danger and tasting adventure.
Hey, Tyler! Where are you going? The moon? Get cable message, Tyler!
When a storm rolls in, Richard seeks shelter in the library, where right from the start he experiences what he's been avoiding. Fear. The building is empty, dark, and the librarian emerges from the shadows, foreshadowing what is about to come.
You're in need of fantasy.
He's not wrong. He does need an adventure. He does need a thing to get him over his weaknesses, his fear. And oddly enough, this movie also has a hero's journey in it. I know all these lefty HW they'll just resent the hero's journey, like we saw with Door Monster. Like, how dare you make me do the hero's journey? Like, it's to the point where they had to make a whole entire video on the topic. It's just, I can't believe the hero's journey is still being used. Yes, it's not our fault. It's not the producer's fault. It's not the people from Hollywood's fault that it's effective. And it's definitely not their fault that you can't make a story that adheres to it. But as we've seen, a lot of people don't really have that much imagination. It's like, okay, well, let me just adhere to this rigidly. No, it's not You're not supposed to adhere to it rigidly. It is not a win button. It's not an instant win button, which seems to have been the perception, I guess, where it's like, okay, if I just use the hero's journey, it's going to be good, right? No, because it has to make sense, it has to be creative. You have to, you're guided by it. It does not do the work for you. But back then, this is, you might not always see it, but the hero's journey was present, and it is very much so in the Page Master. Alex Halo, thanks for the $5 super chats. I don't make mistakes. LD has like all my anime recommendations except for Lucky Star doesn't count. Oh, and then also, what's it called? The one where the assassin goes to get isekai'd. I didn't really like that one either that much, but a lot of all the other ones, yes. But thank you much, Alex Halo. Appreciated. All right, Alex Halo, much appreciated. Now we're at 45 out of 100. Just $5 more, and we will be at the halfway point. Thank you very much, everyone. All right, so let's see. If I was a kid and I ran to a librarian like this, I'm running away. I don't care if it's raining. Running as fast as I can. I mean, he's a very enthusiastic librarian. Alex 2 says, boy, you need to read a book about a ring and walking. Lots of walking. Yeah, would we recommend him Lord of the Rings? Yes, you need a book of adventure. Here's Lord of the Rings. Then perfect.
Brave knights, mythical fairies, ferocious dragons.
Look, all I want is
Adventure!
He tries to interest Richard.
I kind of feel like this librarian and the grandpa from The Princess Bride know each other pretty well.
In books, but the boy declines and goes off looking for a phone to call home. The librarian tells him something important, something that we all need to remember.
Don't be afraid, boy, to lose your way. Merely direct yourself back to the exit sign.
He's saying something powerful here. Go forward, make a choice, and if it doesn't work out, simply go back. We're often paralyzed by the fear of getting things wrong. We say to ourselves, what if I fail? Well, when you make a poor choice, the way out is to keep making choices. You can't shut down. C.S. Lewis once said that if you're on the wrong road, progress means doing an about turn and walking back to the right road. Don't be stubborn. Sometimes going back is the quickest way on. We can't let fear keep us from going forward or from turning back. Staying still in the illusion of safety is the worst of all options. Richard slips and hits his head, transporting him into the world of classic literature, where there he meets horror, fantasy, and adventure, to go on a quest and find the exit to the library. There are so few stories like this written explicitly for young boys today, calling them toward heroism and risk, adventure, and the sting of failure. The Page
This is true. Now it's like you need to be in touch with your feelings. You need to apologize for being male. It's not really, there's no real stories for young men anymore about, going off and becoming adventurous. It's about, you need to feel bad about what you've done. You need to feel less entitled. It really, like every single story today, like at least a lot of them today that are targeted at young men. If it is targeted at young men, it's like a feminist finger wagging at young men. How dare you be male? How dare you? That's kind of what it feels like every single time. This is so Page Master is so blatantly and unapologetically about, hey, young men, go off and go on an adventure. I don't think it could be made today, actually. I just don't.
Master appears to Richard to tell him exactly what he needs, and it's what the audience needs as well. A view of oneself expanded by the wonder of a good story. You get ideas from stories about what's possible in your own life. If you've never heard of a dragon or never heard a story of dragons being defeated, you'll go through life assuming that they're invincible. There's another...
there's the quote, right? It's fairy tales, but really it's stories. Stories are more than true because they don't show you that dragons exist. They show you that dragons can be defeated, which is very scary to the SJW. They don't want that stuff to be around. They don't want that stuff to because they're the dragon. They're the demons. They know it. They know it to be the case. They're the evil, wretched demons. This is why they always get offended every single time you make a villain, because they and it's not even an exaggeration on my part. They will openly say, we're the villains. We're the bad guys. We sympathize with the villains. We see ourselves in villains. That's what they say. that they volunteer this sort of information. So that's why they want more sympathetic villains. They're like, oh yeah, I'm doing evil crap, but like the world was mean to me. There's a reason behind it. There's a reason. Like they want to get us used to looking past the villainy and saying, oh well, people were mean to you, so it's okay that you commit mass murder or whatever it is, like Kylo Ren. Everybody drink. Absolutely. It happens every once in a while.
Another C.S. Lewis line that clicks here: since it is so likely that children will meet cruel enemies, let them at least have heard of brave knights and heroic courage. Otherwise, you are making their destiny not brighter, but
I know this quote.
That children heard a story of dragon by the wonder of a good story. You get ideas from stories about what's possible in your own life. If you've never heard of a dragon or never heard a story of dragons being defeated, you'll go through life assuming that they're invincible. There's another C.S. Lewis line that...
Aha, it is C.S. Lewis. I know this quote. I recognize this one.
Clicks here. Since it is so likely that children will meet cruel enemies, let them at least have heard of brave knights and heroic courage. Otherwise, you are making their destiny not brighter.
I forgot who said it because I don't usually quote C.S. Lewis. But the few times I do it, this is one of the quotes I recognize. I just forgot who said it.
But darker. That's what Richard's father has been trying to do for him in The Pagemaster, and it's what Richard's mother, though she's a good woman, doesn't know how to do. That's what dads are for. Richard then faces Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, a scene so frightening I have never forgotten about it since I was 6 years old.
Mr. Hyde!
It's really cool too because it's Leonard Nimoy who voices that character.
The whole sequence is terrifying from start to finish, but what's so wonderful about it is that when it's over, Richard experiences what we all experience when going through a fright, and then we survive. He smiles. He's proud of himself, surprised by what he can handle. And a quick plug, we have a book coming out on this very topic in December. Great Escape, 30 Reflections on Stoicism, Faith, and the Wisdom of Great...
See, how generations as villains may have a sad backstory, like the main characters are not so different, you and I, but this doesn't excuse their atrocities, and they need to be stopped. Yes, exactly. It's kind of why I always reference that One House episode, because there could be a reason why they're doing evil things, but they're still doing evil things. And then when you do evil things, you should be punished. That's just how it goes. Sometimes in Columbo, the murderer will have good reasons as to why they committed murder. Like I remember this one where this old lady, she's like a really famous author, and she locks her, I guess, son-in-law in a vault, and then lets him suffocate in there while she goes on vacation, and he dies. And the reason why she does this is because she, the one day the son-in-law goes off to onto the lake with her daughter, and comes back alone. Like, what happened? Don't know. Never found the body. So from then on, it's like, okay, what a tragedy. They could never find the body, and she's always suspected him ever since then. So she wants to get revenge by locking him in the vault. Now it kind of feels like he did commit the murder. That's what it seems like. But we could understand why she would come to these conclusions. Like it's really obvious. Like, okay, you went off with my daughter, and now you came back alone, and she's dead. What the hell? What the hell? She's gone now. And so you can see why she was so angry and so bitter. And it's like this little lady wants to get revenge for the unlawful death of her daughter. It's kind of what it boils down to. So you can understand where she's coming from, but she still committed murder. And Columbo knew all this. Like, Columbo knew what was going on. He's like, I understand and I sympathize, but you still committed murder. She even goes, I'll never kill again. Like, this is the one-time thing. I'm an old lady, like, mostly harmless. Can you just let it go? Like, you just walk away. Like, sorry, ma'am. You have your profession and I have mine. So it's not because he hates him either. That same episode, he delivers a speech about how he doesn't find his job to be cruel or corrupt. He doesn't find his job to be depressing. He says he finds like there's always something likable about these murderers. Like, all the people run into something funny, something interesting, something smart. and he finds something to like about a lot of these murders. Sometimes he just hates them, but sometimes they're not so bad. Sometimes I can understand them. Sometimes they might be otherwise good people, but something drove them to murder, and he acknowledges this and he knows this, but that does not stop him from taking them down. Does not stop him from delivering their due punishment. There's also that one episode of Columbo where it's about a father who kills another man because his son plagiarized the man's work, and he wants to protect his son, and that's how Columbo catches him, because he sets up this whole scenario that forces the dad to confess his sins to save his son, because he notes that the father will do anything to protect his son, and he knew this. And he can sympathize. He even kind of gives the father like a last smoke, like you can have one more cigar before we take you down to the station. Same thing with the wine connoisseur guy. Like I caught you. You're under arrest, but we can have one more glass of wine before we go in. Sometimes he's very sympathetic, but he still takes them to jail. He still catches them. He doesn't let anybody go because they still committed murder. They still committed evil, and that should be punished. That's why Columbo was so good, because he's still human underneath all of his bravado, all of his dogged pursuits. But at the end, he's still human, and so he will sympathize with people when they have a sympathetic reason as to why they did what they did. Like the wine connoisseur, right? The Italian wine connoisseur, he was going to lose everything. And so what else could he do? Like, he just panicked and he just killed his brother because the brother was going to take away everything. All of his wine business, he was going to lose everything overnight, essentially. So Columbo could understand that. He could sympathize with that. And so that's why he had one more last drink with the wine connoisseur. But he still took him to jail. Megalathon, thanks for the $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Megalathon. Very much appreciated. Oh my God! Man, don't you hate it when you're placing the last coat of wax on the floor and it's blended so well you keep losing your place? Just me anyway. Warcraft videos say, well, you have my attention. Yes, it's a really cool one too. I didn't finish it because I was like, oh, I got to show chat this. I think you'll like it. Though. It's fan-made film. I actually put it in the Discord. I was like, I liked it so much. I was like, you got to see this. But watch it here together if and when we reach the required goal. All right, but here we go. Come on.
Stories. It's all about the strength and truth we derive from great books and movies. Pre-orders start this month, and if you join our list at greatescapebook.com, you'll get some bonus video and audio content. You'll get it first, so do go sign up. And back to the video. Remember, we are born into the world with fear. We're afraid of the dark. We quickly realize the danger of heights and of water, and we have vague ideas about monsters under the bed. But as G.K. Chesterton says, fairy tales do not give the child his first idea of the bogey or monster.
Okay, that is a G.K. Chesterton. Like the quote from Coraline that Neil Gaiman uses is not a G.K. Chesterton quote. It is a quote I guess he made up or something like that. It's just oh, I forgot. It's not actually his quote. But this one is. This one is a G.K. Chesterton quote. It's a Carillion Butterfly. Thanks for the 1 gifted membership and additional gifted, so 2 gifted memberships. Thank you very much, Carillion Butterfly. Very generous. Let's go. Yes. Welcome, the additional 2 members of the Lit Legion of the Best Shows and the Cuss Emojis. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much indeed.
They give the child his first clear idea of the possible defeat of the bogey. The baby has known the dragon intimately ever since he had an imagination. What the fairy tale provides for him is a St. George to kill the dragon. The stories give us heroes, and the heroes show us how.
Carillion Butterfly, an additional membership. Thank you very much, Carillion Butterfly. So 3 memberships. Thank you very much. Let me see. Did not get Alex. Oh, here we go. Alex 2 says that the Fate series does have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Or are they servants or something like that? Or like the side guys? Like Shakespeare. I know Shakespeare's in there, but he's not. I don't think he's a servant, right? Uh, let's see. Let's see.
Anyone who doesn't want you to have heroes doesn't want you to have tools to solve problems. Think about every scary thing you didn't want to do as a kid. Haunted houses, roller coasters, sketchy looking playsets, or jumping a bike over a makeshift ramp. What most eases our fear is the sight of survivors, our peers who did the thing and were fine. Proof that our fear might be out of touch with reality. The Page Master reminds you that when you're small and do something bold, you get to feel big for a moment. And kids, particularly young boys, thrive off the realization that they can do terrifying things and life goes on.
Way to go, honey.
Oh, I wish my dad could have seen me.
Our fears are just impressions, deceiving us more often than they inform us. But fear never stops. Richard comes face to face with most.
By the way, as another reason why the hero's journey is so powerful, because the hero's journey, if you do a full hero's journey, it requires you to have a protagonist that begins as most lowly, where he begins at his least skilled and must go over the journey to attain the skills he needs to complete his final test. So it requires first of all, a character arc, but also it requires the main character to be at a point, like a low point in his life, or at a beginning point, a novice point in his life. So very important.
Moby Dick, my personal worst nightmare. A large fish bursting out of the dark.
Moby Dick in this movie is pretty terrifying. It's a really good rendition.
And dragging Captain Ahab down into the sea. Sometimes danger is real, and we have to learn this. There is no comparison between the risk of climbing a ladder or building a treehouse with Dad versus battling the white whale. Hunting the white whale is optional. It's an obsession of Ahab, and it ends up killing him. You don't have to do it. But sometimes a dragon will be guarding the exit that you need to get through. Sometimes you're going to face monsters and fear that are real and need to be faced anyways, but you're never alone in that. Richard arms himself and tries to fight the dragon.
It's the Alex Halo. Thanks for the $5 super chat. Thank you very much. And see, Alex says, Shakespeare and Dr. Jekyll are servants. Artists and writer servants tend to be summoned as casters who can alter reality in some way. Okay, so they're casters. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, I don't see why Shakespeare would be like a warrior or anything. That wouldn't make much sense. But anyway.
And he loses. He gets eaten. But inside the monster, he finds books, and books have inside of them wisdom and creative solutions to problems that he is facing. That's what we all need and sometimes act like we can't make time for. Books, movies, stories, these things are evidence that someone has faced this monster before and overcome it. And Richard escapes. He finds the exit, and the Page Master doesn't apologize for the journey that he forced upon him.
Do you have any idea what I've been through?
Yet you stand before me.
Well, yeah.
The movie ends with Richard biking home without his protective gear, jumping the bike ramp, and it gives him some healthy self-respect. And then he sleeps the night in his treehouse. The world is made better and safer by men who are competent and confident, who understand risk and how to live with it. There are so many data points that I could share.
You know what else? Where else this happens? Scrubs. Have you seen Scrubs? The first episode of Scrubs, or I think it's the first episode, or maybe it's the second, where JD has like this fear of doing these procedures, and he always gets nurses to do them for him. And then they could have set it up where he has to, there's no nurse that he can get. He has to do it, and Dr. Cox kind of like just says, "Come on, kid, it's now or he's dead. Gotta do it." So it kind of prompts JD to take a deep breath and just do the procedure, and he does, and it's successful, and he saves the guy's life. And from then on, it becomes a lot simpler. This thing he thought was insurmountable, this insurmountable fear becomes surmountable all of a sudden. And after he surmounts it that first time, finally, he's able to do it. Is able to do it easily, and it becomes more mundane procedure for him, which it should. But at first it was something that was so terrifying because he was so afraid of getting it wrong and causing harm and all this stuff. So Dr. Cox, as a good mentor should, pushes him into doing it, essentially effectively pushing him out of the nest so that he can either fall or fly. And JD flew that day, metaphorically speaking, of course. But yeah, it's like the same thing. You go through it. You see people can go through it. You see people can actually get through this procedure, and then you can get through it, and suddenly the fear kind of goes away. Let's see.
Share, but here's just one. 46% of 16-year-olds had driver's licenses in 1983 versus 26% today. And among 18-year-olds, it's fallen from 80% to 60%. Anxiety or fear of driving was the most common reason given for delaying getting a license. And among male respondents, the rate was even higher than that of women at 47%. Nearly half of boys today are too scared to drive. Now think about everything in life that gets put on hold when you're stuck at home and forced to be taken everywhere by your parents. The good things like a date with an actual girl, the bad things like going to a party and making a few mistakes. This is how you get a generation of boys turned inward, living online, growing angry, and turning to radical ideologies that promote their victimhood and inflame envy.
Oh man, hitting him right in that core.
And grievance. But there is a better way.
Climb trees, hop fences, get into trouble, for crying out loud.
You can't live your life based on statistics.
And frankly, I first learned about it in the Page Master. We're not seeing many stories like this anymore. In the 1990s, mainstream storytellers must have sensed what was coming with boys being tempted to stay inside and turn away from adventure and responsibility, and these movies sought to warn against it. Today, it just feels to me like storytellers have moved on, but that's why we are here.
John Doe. This topic reminds me of the fool in Pilgrim's Progress who lucks his way ignorantly through the obstacles, is thrown to damnation at the end because he never faced and overcame. Yeah, if you don't do that, if you don't actually overcome these things, you never grow. That's kind of why it's so important to the hero's journey that you do overcome stuff before you go to your final test, because these challenges in the hero's journey, the road of trials, is how you grow as a person and as a character.
Stoics, counter-programming. It's what Master Samwise is doing. First-time readers, Brave New Slop, Josiah
Brave New Slop, that sounds fun.
Kang, all these great channels where you can learn how to be a better man today and help the boys who are coming up.
Oh, come on. What about my Superman video? Come on. Anyway, chat, that was pretty fun. I do like the Page Master. That was a pretty good movie. All right, chat. Well. Let's get down to business here with Grounded is not the same as Realistic. And I'm starting to see like why this could be the case. I haven't seen the video yet, but I can understand why this might be an argument. You can have a grounded movie, a grounded setting, but it could still be fantastical. You can still have fantasy elements in there. Just more, you think a little bit more about how the realism, the logistics of how this could happen. It looks fantastical, but how does it work? How does it operate scientifically? Well, then you have realistic, which is like, I think realism would cut away the fantastic. Well, check it out, Chad. See what they say.
So there was no particular trigger.
He has a think, boy. What kind of adventure would you have had if I brought you here with a turn of the page? Lions hold a lot of weight in today's age. Yeah, it's you have to grow. Same thing, kind of similar. Something similar happens in Wizard of Oz, at least the movie. Or like, why didn't you just tell me I had the power to go home the entire time? Like, well, it's like, well, you wouldn't have believed me. And some people might say, well, that's dumb. Yes, I would have had. And I think maybe she would have. I mean, she was so desperate. He probably would have tried anything. She probably wouldn't have believed her, but she would have tried it. Unless the whole thing is about you have to believe they'll take you home, which makes sense. But in any case, it's really about Dorothy growing as a person over the course of her journey. And at the end, she's able to accept these things. She's able to accept what the fantastic elements. She's able to accept the truth. She's able to accept that she can go home now, and she can believe she can go home now. And that's a very powerful moment. But in both Page Master and Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, the journey is required so they can arrive mentally and as a person at the growth, the level of maturity they need to arrive at to achieve their goals, to free themselves of their shackles, right? The core wound, I haven't talked about in a while, but the core wound is very important. Any character quality will have a core wound that drives them throughout the story. Now, for Batman that's on screen now, it's obviously the death of his parents, or more precisely, the murder of his parents. But it doesn't always have to be a tragic loss. Sometimes it is a tragic loss, like Punisher's family or Helen from John Wick. Because I have to bring in John Wick. I already mentioned Neil Gaiman. Gotta mention John Wick now. But it doesn't always have to be a tragic loss. Like sometimes it can be this yearning for something more, like a Disney princess, or a yearning for something a little bit more like a legacy of some sort. Like for example, Neo from the Matrix. Like you can tell that his life is so mundane. He's so bored with his life at a dead end job that he'll turn to becoming a hacker. Just to find something that makes him feel alive. And then of course his fantasy is eventually fulfilled because he finds out he's in the Matrix and becomes like the chosen one and stuff. But we also get something similar with Fight Club. With Fight Club, he's so bogged down by the mundanity of life and how it's so meaningless that he just kind of just drifts through it like someone who is half asleep, which is a really good depiction of what it feels like to feel that way. You drifting through life half asleep. He's insomniac. And then he kind of like, and then he finds meaning. He's able to eventually find meaning in these meetings and everything. And he's able to finally have a great sleep. It's very interesting. So it doesn't always have to be a tragic loss. It can be a yearning for something. They have no idea of what they're yearning for, but they're yearning for something. They feel like zombies in their everyday life. So every good character has a core wound that drives them, that drives their every decision, their every outlook, their narrative, or whatever it might be. Okay, and a lot of that can include fears, a feeling of insecurity or whatever it might be that might drive them to find something. They don't even know what, but they want to find something that kind of changes who they are and makes them a better person or gives them a brand new life. But it's always some core wound that drives them there. Okay. And with the Page Master, it's the main character is driven by fear. It's just a fear of danger. This being a timid person is a fair price for being safe. That was the fear that he had. He didn't even know what he was afraid of. He was just afraid, just bogged down and corrupted by fear. At the end, he's able to shrug that off and is able to live free. The shackles have been unshackled from his wrists, from his heart, from his soul, and he's able to continue on as a normal person, relieved of this ever crippling presence of fear in his mind. And it's like that. It's like that. And Neo eventually finds some meaning there by becoming the chosen one. A lot of this is search for meaning or to overcome a weakness, and you need to overcome that weakness by going through challenges, by overcoming obstacles, things like that. So it is very important. It's always very important that you go through this journey. It might seem useless when they go to the end and the mentor is there and saying, welcome, you can go home now. And yeah, that line is very profound, and it's something more profound than some people might think. But yeah, the journey is required. Could the wizard have sent him home immediately? Probably. But what would he learn? How would he be a changed person? That's the whole meaning behind this, is that he needs to be a changed person. He needs to grow for the better. The journey is actually very important for growth. Today, what's interesting about today's media and things like that, today's stories, is that they don't value this journey. They kind of play lip service to the journey. They go on, they do things, they go to places, and they have fights or whatever, but the characters don't grow. Right? Instead of growth, instead of training, they go through moments what would we say? The moments of exhibition, where it's not about the character being weak or or lacking something, and they grow or overcome something, it's about how cool they are. And it's kind of the same. This is one of the things I noticed in Ruby. Right, it's one of the things I found very annoying about Ruby is that, okay, sometimes they go off and they train. Right, they have a training segment. They have a moment where they say that, okay, well, we need to train for this. We need to get better. We need to grow as people. We need to become better people, better hunters. And then, but their training is we just fight and do flashy moves. And then they have these emotional scenes where they cry or whatever, and they talk about a painful memory, and suddenly they're different people. That's not how that goes. They kind of skip the journey. That's why it feels like nothing happens, because they don't really value the journey. They don't go on a journey. They have moments of exhibition, and then and then they have like some fights or something. They walk down a road, and suddenly we're supposed to believe that they've changed as people, but they actually haven't. The training sections are so interesting because they are a reflection of how the writing actually works. They go through the motions of what seems to be a moment of growth, but there is no moment of growth. It's just a moment of showing off, but there is no growth. And that's kind of what happens a lot of the time in modern day writing, especially with female main characters, because growth requires weakness. Growth requires pain. And most of all, and probably worst of all, growth requires actual failure, right? Not a play acting failure, not Mary Sue failure, which is like, oh, I failed, but it was someone else's fault. I failed, but like some circumstance caused me to fail. I failed, but there was no payment. There was no actual loss. It's like it's like you're on tutorial mode. Like, oh, you lost, but nothing was really lost. Nothing was really, you didn't actually fail. Someone else failed, or you didn't have to pay a price for your failure. That sort of thing. And so that's kind of what it is. There is no growth. There is no growth. They go through the motions of growth, the motions of a journey, without the actual substance of one. And that's kind of why so many modern day films and shows and what have you feel so fundamentally empty.
This is just something that's been on my mind for a while, and I don't think I ever made a video talking about it. But something that often irks me with superhero media, because you see this with comics as much as you see it with movies and video games and TV shows these days, it irks me when storytellers try to ascribe real world standards of normalcy to the narrative, particularly among more grounded street level superheroes. Where players think they're clever and you just let that crazy, you dress that child in a costume and you drag them into life. Thus, you're insane. It's fine.
I like to give that commentary appropriate silly voice. Very nice. Oh no, yeah, I'm noticing like we're getting some roboting. Unfortunately, I don't know what the hell, but hopefully it fixes itself in a little bit here.
Just a bit of meta humor, okay? But like when that becomes the narrative thematic crux of your Batman story, that's when it starts to fall apart. Because in the real world, yes, it's crazy. You know, Bruce Wayne would be a certifiable knucking futt. But in the DC universe, where the Justice Society and the All-Star Squadron were off fighting super Nazis in World War II, and Our Man and Dr. Midnight were getting into street fights with Solomon Grundy and Sportsmaster back in the 1940s and 50s, in a world where that behavior is not only normalized, but sensationalized, well, then, of course, you're going to wind up with someone like Batman down the line, who, again, in the context of said world, is just another guy doing the same thing that a bunch of other guys were already doing and are still doing around the same time, with Green Arrow and Black Canary and Superman and Wonder Woman and The Flash and Guardian. Like, Batman is not any crazier than any of those guys, because dressing up in a spandex costume and fighting crime sometimes with a child sidekick, is relatively normal in that fictional setting. Especially when you consider that Bruce Wayne and all these other superheroes were kids watching Alan Scott fly over Gotham City, fighting crime as Green Lantern. Like in that world, in that context, Bruce Wayne's behavior is relatively normal because he's just another superhero. Now, to that point, in
Because it happens all the time. It's like Kid Flash and stuff. But yeah, it's normal.
universe, okay,
To us, it's weird. Like it'd be weird if a guy did this in real life, but like in this universe, it's normal.
Batman isn't just another superhero. He's one of the big three. He's part of the Trinity. He's a founding member of the Justice League. And he is, to be fair, he is viewed as being a little crazy. He is seen as being a bit off.
I think it's supposed to be a little off, and but he knows this. He knows he's a little bit, psychologically damaged. Obviously. By the way, Chad, we are just $22? At $22? No wait, $32. $32 away. $32 away. We're $32 away from Pillarman. $32 away, Chad. We're almost there. Very close indeed. Very close indeed. Thank you very much, everyone, for your generosity so far today. As a Divvy Duckworth is a wealthy bachelor raising a young male ward in a mansion, often referred to as two homosexuals living together. By psychiatrist Frederick Wertman in his 1954 book, Seduction of the Innocent. Let's see.
Filter, but it's not because he wears a costume and fights crime. No, people think Batman is crazy because of his apparent limitless tenacity and the lengths he'll go for the sake of the mission. He will recognize the limitations of his own mortality and humanity.
So, plus Batman's gadgets don't always work in real world science, and those utility belt pouches must come from Gallifrey. Yeah, it's just he has like something for every situation, no matter how specific. It's like, how do you feel all this stuff in your utility belt, Batman? The Adam West show is kind of funny because he doesn't really have that many gadgets, not really. And what's interesting about Adam West Batman is that sometimes he'll be fighting an enemy or a bad guy or a supervillain or whatever multiple times throughout the 2-episode arc, because usually they're 2 episodes. So they'll have their initial clash, and then the guy will escape or whatever. And then by the end of the first episode, obviously he always gets Batman in some sort of trap that'll get you back, next time. Like what will happen to Batman? Will he escape? Is our Cape Crusader doomed? To find out next time. Same Bat channel, same Bat time, that sort of thing. So they tend to fight multiple times. And this is important because it makes more sense as to why Batman is so prepared. So if he knows what bad guy he's dealing with, right, he's gonna like equip his utility belt with equipment he might need for this guy, for whoever it might be, Joker or Penguin or whatever. But yeah, when it comes down to like normal Batman, he just has like infinite things for infinite situations, and once again, the campy, silly, super comedic Adam West Batman has a very logical reason as to why he's always prepared. Like so far, Adam West Batman, it explains to you why everyone is always out on the streets is because of progressive policies. It also explains why they can arrest bad guys despite the fact that they're brought in by vigilantes, because he's a deputized guy of the law, officer of the law. And it kind of, if you kind of think about it, it makes sense why he has gadgets ready to go for every episode. It's because he knows who he's fighting. He knows who he's fighting, so he can equip his utility belt with things specifically for that villain or villains,
and keep going if need be. That's what makes Batman such an outlier. And again, Batman isn't the only grounded character you see this with. This reminds me of someone.
Let's see. I say let's just find us. What do you mean? Having a kid with bright red outfit to draw attention away from his very normal. All right, bro, but I need you to go that way and draw fire.
What heated nerd discussion that I had with someone at my local comic shop a few months back, where bro was like, Actually, the Punisher should only wear a tactical vest and fatigues, because why would Frank Castle wear a costume? That's silly. And the Punisher's not silly, he's serious. Same deal with Batman. You know, in the context of the world that Frank Castle lives in, people who want to fight crime often wear costumes. It's just a thing you do in that fictional setting. Furthermore, Frank Castle, like many other soldiers in the Marvel Universe, enlisted because of Captain America. You know, he was Frank's inspiration. And Captain Steve Rogers, if you had no idea, let me tell you, was out there in Germany and France and Russia doing somersaults, wearing red, white, and blue showgirls tights with the ruby red pirate boots, and he was throwing that big-ass American flag frisbee around the battlefield alongside the invaders and his teenage sidekick Bucky, because, again, in the Marvel Universe, this shit is normal. It's normal. You know, it's...
I think in the original Captain America comic also, he had a sidekick named Bucky before Bucky knew that he was actually Captain America, I think. Because Bucky just walks in on Steve Rogers changing into Captain America costume or out of it. And like, wow, you're Captain America. And from then on, he became the sidekick. And Shadow Trunks says, I better get my own jury started to have a great day, LD and chat. You as well, Shadowwing Trunks, have a fantastic day.
As normal as using a handheld computer to access internet applications that you feed deeply personal data to, in exchange for that application providing you a list of total strangers to communicate with, so that you can pick one to meet up and have intercourse with and most likely never talk to ever again. Now, see, when I put it like that, don't dating apps sound fucking crazy? You know? And if I went back in time and I told someone in the 1970s or 80s what Tinder was and how it worked, their brain would fucking explode. But in the context of the real world that we live in the current day, and given the understanding of our relationship with technology.
All right, by the way, chat, it is $27 away now. It is $27 away from Pitliman and the extra video of the day.
And it's totally normal. You know, when we barely think of
it. And of course, chat, it does also count towards the ultimate goal that will unlock more stuff. No, we'll do Venture Brothers this week. Last week we had the Wonder Woman 2009 movie, which is really actually pretty good. But we'll go back to Venture Brothers this week. And unless someone has another idea for a movie or something. And then, of course, if we reach 500 for the week, we'll have more Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
About it. But yeah, all this to say, Batman and Punisher are gritty, pulpy, street-level characters, but they're gritty, pulpy, street-level characters that respectively exist and operate in a world of...
Zikana says, this guy gets it. The woke freaks can separate fantasy from reality, and they keep trying to push our world values into places they have no justifiable reasons to be in. Yeah, it's like, oh, we need to make this more like our world because it should reflect our world, when really it should be reflecting their world. The superhero world is really different than ours, but it should reflect good morals, which are oddly enough based in Christianity. Christian morals, good religious Christian morals. Thou shalt not kill, right? That's one of the big ones.
Literal gods and monsters. And I think that important little nugget often gets lost because a lot of people conflate grounded with realistic and often try to force these characters to be more realistic and ascribe to a more real world verisimilitude. I think I use that word properly. But yeah, Batman is a grounded character in a heightened reality. So yeah, he's gonna wear a gaudy, flashy costume because that's what people in the DC universe do. The Punisher is a grounded character.
If he was an action movie, yeah, you just wear Rambo attire or more, because Rambo's like shirtless. But he would wear probably the same thing that John Matrix wears in the movie Commando. It's like pants, fatigues and a bulletproof vest and all that stuff. He probably wear that sort of outfit, but he's in a superhero universe, and that skull is something that strikes fear to the heart of all the people he goes after, like the mob and stuff.
character in a heightened reality. Yes, he is a soldier, but in the Marvel Universe, soldiers, vigilantes, and mercenaries wear costumes. It's part of their brand, you know? And Daredevil, and I didn't talk about Daredevil in this video, but he suffers from this as well, is a grounded...
See, the defense is actual talented writers would make real-world events fictional in comic universes. A world without superheroes would be an entertainment staple. I would say so, yeah. Actual talented writers would make a real-world events fictional in comic. Yeah, it'd be fun. Like a real talented writer has fun using their imagination. That's kind of the real difference here between like a woke modern writer and like a actual writer. That the actual writer has so much fun translating real world stuff into fiction, or the meaning of real world events into fiction, whatever it might be. Like what would the X-Men version of 9/11 be? That sort of thing. Where a woke writer is like, okay, we're just going to do 9/11 and then see how everyone reacts to it. It's like it's just going to be 9/11. That's about it. Or if they do, it's a very thin veneer. It's a very thin paint job over the real world event. Like there's no imagination involved. It's like, okay, well, how about a cop kills a mutant by kneeling on his neck? That sort of thing. Like, okay, well, that's really, really on point with real world events. Of course, then the twist would be at the end is like, okay, he actually didn't die from the kneeling on the neck. He actually died from a drug overdose. But it's like, this be really one for one. When a true actual writer was like, okay, well, let me make this more baked into the world of whatever world I'm writing in, and we'll have an event to the point where you might not even recognize where the reference comes from. Is like you'll find out later and go, oh, I didn't even know that. That's pretty cool. That's how a real writer would handle it.
Character again in a heightened reality.
Like and typically, to be the reality is a real writer probably wouldn't be just okay. What's the current event, the latest current event? A real writer would be like Neil Gaiman, where he's just sitting in a bar or something like that in at a convention hall, right, with perfectly nice people around him, and then he'll think, I wonder if serial killers have conventions. That's how a writer actually thinks.
In fact, he himself has superpowers. It's the reason why, quite frankly, I never understood the whole he needs armor because he's gonna get shot at. Bro, Matt Murdock's radar sense is so fucking busted. He can tell the bullet's trajectory before you even squeeze the trigger. Like, Daredevil doesn't need...
Armor probably would slow him down, actually.
Armor. Just, like, Daredevil doesn't need armor, despite being a gritty, pulpy, street-level character. In fact, because Daredevil is an acrobat, if anything, it makes more sense for him to be wearing tights like Spider-Man, Now, is armor more realistic for a street-level vigilante? Yeah, but in the context of Daredevil's world and given his heightened senses, he doesn't need armor. And like I said, just because a superhero character is grounded doesn't necessarily make them realistic. So they don't conform to our real-world standards of normalcy, nor do they really have to for them to work. In fact, forcing them to, I think, sort of robs them of what makes them work so well in the first place. But yeah, guys, those are just my random thoughts for the day. That's my TED Talk. Thanks for watching, and hey.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if we got into the real nitty gritty of what between Grounded and Realism, but we did get to the topic of it. You shouldn't shy away if you're making superhero stuff. You shouldn't really shy away from the fantastic elements of it. Like, okay, yeah, would he wear armor? I don't know, maybe, but it's part of being a superhero that's kind of fun. It's not an action movie. In an action movie, I'd recommend that. In an action movie, it's like, okay, that makes sense. He goes in wearing armor. He goes in wearing face paint. He's got the machine. He's got automatics ready to go. He's got just his side piece and everything. In an action movie, okay, that makes sense because it's supposed to be like more in our world, but a superhero world, if you're trying to make it realistic, you're trying to make it more like what would he do in real life, you're taking away a lot of the fun. And it's what some stories are just allowed to be fun. All right, they part of the fun is it being fun, it being fantastical. It's kind of like, okay, well, let me go ahead and write this fantasy, and you're like, okay, well, a giant. Here, they encounter a giant in the middle of this forest, and then you're just like, okay, that's cool. Like, let's fight this giant. All right, it's gonna be awesome. And then there's the guy comes in and says, well, if you think about it, giants aren't really realistic. Where do you find all this food? Like, how could there be a race of guys this large, and how much food would they need to sustain them? It's like that. Like, you're taking away the fantastic elements. Like, really, they wouldn't be that large. I mean, could giants to really sustain themselves on this kind of economy? It's like, okay, stop thinking about it that hard. All right, this is fight the giant. Just stop sapping the fun out of everything. All right, not everything needs to be scientifically accurate. Sometimes it's just fun to fight a giant. Sometimes it's fun to fight a dragon. Okay, magic. A wizard did it. Shut up and let's fight. Let's see. The Dark Knight Returns. Exactly. The Dark Knight Returns. I do like the Dark Knight Returns quite a bit actually. But it is like more grounded. It's more grounded than your typical thing, your typical Batman story, because it's about like politics and nuclear war and stuff eventually. But it is pretty good. I do like the arc it travels. It's pretty interesting. It's very inspiring too, because he becomes like this really he becomes, even at his in his retirement, he becomes a hope for Gotham once again. Anyway, Chad. Anyway, we are at $27 away, Chad. $27 away from Pillarman. If the beef, by the way, thanks for the $5 super chat on Rumble. Thank you very much. Yes. It's if the beef says, I once again recommend going over or EFAPing Mandalore Gaming's The Mystery of the Druids. Oh yeah, you're forgetting about that video. It's a strange 2000s points and click adventure game with a morally confusing protagonist. Mystery of the Druids, you say? Interesting. Well, I'll check it out. See, is it on Steam? It's on Steam, I can get it pretty easily. Well, thank you very much. All right, chat. Well, let's get down to business. Jester Bell is back at it again, going over the Doomsday trailer. Now let's check that out, shall we? Let's check that out. Doomsday trailer. Here we go.
Okay, you guys. Jester Bell female Frodo Baggins is here. I've seen the Doomsday trailer, and
I saw a movie I saw yesterday was Ready or Not, Here I Come, the follow-up to Ready or Not. It's pretty good. I like how this they're fighting the literal devil. It turns out that they're fighting these elitists who have made pacts with the devil, and it's pretty awesome. I'd like it. I like both of those movies. But but in the second movie, the real Frodo Baggins isn't there. So what's his name? The guy that plays Frodo Baggins, like, he's in there as like the lawyer to the devil. It's kind of funny. So like, oh yeah, female Frodo Baggins. Well, I just saw a movie with the real Frodo Baggins in there.
I guess if you've seen the title of this video, you can guess that I am not going to be very charitable towards it. But before we get into it, I guess we should just try to talk about the positives about this thing. Yes, we finally got an Avengers Doomsday trailer today, the Monday right after.
When I watched the trailer, like, I watched it on Shad's channel too, and you can go back there, and we're on stream watching the trailer to Avengers Doomsday. And after we watched it, I'm like, okay, Shad, now that we watched the trailer, I want you to tell me what this movie's about. Other than Dr. Doom shows up. It's like, you really can't tell me what the movie's about from watching the trailer, which is an issue. There's like two main elements here. One, if you listen to the dialogue of the trailer, it's just empty trailer fluff you can put in any trailer, really. And two, there's nothing in there other than here's a bunch of cameos and Dr. Doom shows up. Like, what is actually the conflict here? What's actually going to happen? Why is everyone getting together again? Elijah Wood. Elijah Wood is in the other, like, a Ready or Not movie. And that person says, wait, Little Devil likes a movie starring women, but the internet told me that you're a misogynist. I mean, it's a good movie, and it's make a good movie. This is a fun movie. I like both of those. I like both those movies. They're pretty fun. So I don't know, just make a good movie. Just make at least a fun movie. I mean, that movie's goofy. Both those movies are really goofy, but at least they're fun. At least I thought they were fun.
The Odyssey came out, and so I had a different video on the Odyssey I was going to do, but now this is out here. I'm surprised actually that they got it to us this quickly this week, and it is beyond underwhelming. This is beyond underwhelming to the point where I seriously cannot believe that Marvel.
I was tell me okay, in the trailer they say something is coming. It's like every trailer, every trailer is like this now. Like something is coming, but we must stand together and we must choose who we're going to be.
Looked at this trailer and this concept and thought, yep, this is gonna do it. This is gonna get people back into Marvel. This is gonna save our universe. I can't believe that they thought this was acceptable. But back up. The positives about the trailer. So what I will say about it is I think that Doctor Doom, design wise, I think he looks great. This is the most comic book accurate, in a positive way, the most comic book accurate Doctor Doom look that we've ever gotten on screen. They committed to the mask and all of that. And I think that visually Doctor Doom looks great. And also, surprisingly, I think that Robert Downey Jr. is pulling off a good Doctor Doom voice. I don't know if people will agree with me on that. But it was a good sign that initially I didn't hear Robert Downey Jr.'s voice within Doctor Doom at all. He completely transformed himself. And I think that that is very commendable, at least. Now, whether or not that is going to be the draw that they wanted it to be, because Robert Downey Jr. is playing a completely different character than charismatic Tony Stark, that's another conversation. But I think surprisingly, despite all of the backlash towards Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom, he's actually doing a good job from what we see so far. And I'll say I liked James Marsden looks fantastic as comic accurate Cyclops. They even committed to him wearing gold boots. I was happy about seeing him. And even though I am not a fan of the casting of Channing Tatum as Gambit, I think despite this guy wanting to play the character for so many years, he is not right for the role. He does not embody the character. I think that the effects of Gambit's powers, I think that's always looked good. I thought it looked good in Deadpool and Wolverine, and I think that looks amazing here. That is the beginning.
David Musselman with additional $10 super chat. Thank you much, David Musselman. Appreciate it. All right, here we go. Here it is. Let's see. David Musselman says, LD, in Expedition 33, did you notice that Lune floats when she is running? Doesn't really explain why she can and no one else. No, I don't need it to. It just doesn't make it doesn't take away from the game. It doesn't. You kind of assume, because of her power set, that she could just do that. Like her expertise allows her to just float around if she wants to, because she's like the only one with that kind of power. So it just makes sense. Like, okay, she can float sometimes. Makes sense. She's more like a magician kind of character as opposed to everyone else. But so I was like, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense. She floats around. I don't need like a scientific explanation or breakdown as to why she can float or anything. And you just kind of you don't need like a dissertation on everything. It's kind of like, okay, this is how this operates. And so it's fine. Okay. Well, now I know. All right. Very much, everyone. We are now just $12 away from Pillar and the extra video at the end of the stream.
Beginning and the end of anything praiseworthy I can say about this trailer. This trailer that looks like a fan might as well have made it with AI. And surprisingly, even the accounts on Twitter that I usually see shilling for everything Marvel, even the accounts on Twitter I see doing that are coming out and being honest with this trailer. And I commend that. Thank you so much. Like, just be honest with what they've given us here. Okay, what is so wrong with this trailer? Because at first I watched it one more time before doing this video, but when I first saw it, I felt no need to rewatch it. I felt nothing to revisit. I watched it for a second time just for the sake of this trailer. Okay, first of all, going into this trailer, we have heard a description of this a trailer for so many months now. Apparently, like, this seems to be the same trailer that they've been showing at all of the events, like CinemaCon and whatnot, that people have already seen and already given us very detailed descriptions of. And so it's going to be underwhelming when you've heard descriptions for a trailer so much, and then that's all you get. And it's like, it's nothing fresh for us. We're just finally getting what we've heard described to us in text for so many months. And it's like, I remember when the Age of Ultron trailer came out, and there was pandemonium when that trailer released. And then I remember I was there when Infinity War, that trailer released in the morning. And again, just the insane amount of hype that we have never seen since for the Infinity War trailer. But why were these trailers getting so much hype? Especially, let's zero in on Infinity War. Why was that trailer getting so much hype? Because at that point, we were built up in a universe with a lot of characters that we cared about meeting each other, and the novelty of seeing those characters meet each other. We got like Doctor Strange finally meeting Iron Man, a Spider-Man finally being able to interact with the Avengers.
Yes, look in the Doctor Doom trailer. It's like the main thing that you remember are, this guy shows up and that guy shows up and she shows up. It's more about the cameos than it is about the story, and that's a kind of a bad sign.
More, he did it a little bit in Civil War, but more so here. It had a drop of Thor finally meeting the Guardians of the Galaxy. These were two worlds within the same universe of Marvel that were finally colliding for the first time, of characters that people liked. Avengers Doomsday trailer is a bunch of characters that nobody cares about meeting for the first time, where I agree with people, a lot of moments in this trailer looked like AI. And I am shocked, and this is the hilarity of the trailer, I am shocked that behind the scenes at Marvel, they seriously thought, let's have 90 to 95% of this trailer be the new characters that aren't selling for us, that are the reason why we had to go back to these old characters. Let's have them make up 95% of the trailer. I'm sorry, Marvel. I'm sorry. I do not care about any of these. Hey guys, aren't you just so excited that the Thing from the Fantastic Four movie that no one cared about, that became the lowest debut of any Marvel film on Disney Plus, aren't you just so excited to see the Ben Grimm that they got completely wrong in the Fantastic Four First Steps? They didn't even give him his personality. They made him afraid to even use his catchphrase. Aren't you just so excited to see that character meet Shuri Black Panther because we refuse to read?
Imagine a movie that came out and this had fun with being a superhero. That'd be pretty cool, right? It's like all the catchphrases, the colorful costumes, they're pretty fun. See, John Doe looks at $10 super chat. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much, John Doe. Let me see. Let me get the right thing here. It's a, come on, chat. You don't have $2 off topic. With Nolan getting 10% of the gross, the break-even number is 850 million, and an ordinary 20% profit for the Universal is just north of 1 billion. It has to make a lot of money. I'm pretty sure they thought it would make a ton of money, and it has some energy right now. But I guess we'll see how it proceeds from now on. See, up, down, down. So thanks to for the video. Thank you much, up, down, down for the $2 super chat. Appreciate it. All right, I think that does get us there. Let me see.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, chat. Very nice. So yeah, that does get us to $100 and Pillman. So we'll watch the video after this. I think you'll like it. Think you'll enjoy. I thought it was pretty cool. But let's go, chat.
Cast T'Challa so we don't actually have Black Panther. Aren't you just so excited for that? Aren't you just so excited to see Namor again? Aren't you just so excited to see that character? Oh, Yelena Belova. We know you love that character. You love that character so much. Look, guys. Yelena, she doesn't even have a superhero name. She's just Yelena. She's fighting Rebecca Romijn Mystique. Aren't you guys excited? Aren't you guys excited for Yelena to fight Rebecca Romijn Mystique? We know you love Yelena. Guys, we've got Sam Wilson, Captain America in the house. You know, from that movie that bombed. No one saw The Thunderbolts, which was Yelena's lead movie. No one saw Captain America, Brave New World. Clap, guys, clap. They're all getting together. Oh, guys, do you realize we're going to get a battle? Now, calm yourselves. I know it's a lot. I know that you guys are crying in your chairs right now. Okay, calm down, guys. Calm down. But I got to admit, I got a little bit teary-eyed when we saw Shang-Chi fighting
Oh, yes, the great and famous Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi or whatever.
Channing Tatum's Gambit.
A Gambit could be cool. Oh, Gambit's cool. But, like, who cares about Shang-Chi? That's dumb.
Clap. I am thrilled. Just thrilled. No, I'm not.
I kind of like how much Jezebel kind of upsets Wokies. I do like it. It's pretty funny. It's very amusing how much she just enrages Wokies. It is always really funny to me. But yeah, it's all pretty on point. Like the trailer was more about cameos and it was about a story. It was about look who we got in the movie. We got this person in the movie, and that person in the movie, and this person in the movie, and Dr. Doom's in here, I guess. But what is it about? What's the story actually about? What is it? What's Dr. Doom doing? Other than, you know, existing. What is it?
Like, seriously, it was one thing that's like Thor, massive popular A-list Avengers character at the time. He's meeting Chris Pratt, Star-Lord with the Guardians of the Galaxy. These were all characters with very successful movies in their own right. You had Thor, who had just recently come from like a near billion-dollar movie, meeting the Guardians of the Galaxy, that had like, once again, similar box office, $700-800 million range. At the time, adjusted for inflation, all of these would have been billion-dollar movies. Yeah, that mattered. Character you love is meeting a group of other characters you love. How are they going to interact? What is the dynamic going to be? I'm so excited to see, like, you know, Star-Lord conspiring with Spider-Man and Iron Man, and they're going to defeat Thanos. That was Infinity War. This is, hey, guys, are you excited to see Shang-Chi, whose movie was such a failure that we haven't seen him since? Are you excited to see that?
Hey, Busman says, I just noticed she has a Godzilla -1 poster in the background. Yeah, she does. Who's excited for -02 coming out? Didn't at the end of -1, didn't they kind of hint that Godzilla's not dead, just really, really wounded? I think I could have sworn that was the case. I expect a 50-60% drop off, especially if like that revelation of the fans of the audience score is correct, like the 56%, 57%. All the hardcore Nolan Sims went to go see it the first weekend. The Normie's waiting for reviews. We'll go the second week, but the word of mouth will be the real deciding factor. And who's actually believing reviews anymore? Like mainstream reviews. How much power do those mainstream reviews have anymore?
Character interact with Channing Tatum's joke version of Gambit that appeared in Deadpool and Wolverine. That was just a joke over the fact that Channing Tatum never got to play this character like he wanted to. And Channing Tatum is like, the effects of his powers look good. I'll give it that. Channing Tatum is not actually right for Gambit. I will say it. Guys, are you just super excited? Like, even if this was a version of Gambit I really liked, are you super excited to see Gambit fight Shang-Chi? Are you serious? But that is the majority of the trailer. It's all of these characters from failed movies. Fantastic Four, Brave New World, Thunderbolts was the lowest box office of a superhero movie last year. I don't care what you say about it. Like the Wakandans, not Black Panther, Shuri, a movie that they made like to capitalize off the death of Chadwick Boseman when they should have honestly recast the character. Namor. It's like, I don't care about any of these people. And that's why it just looks like an AI movie. It's like, you can't be serious about any of this. I just can't believe they are expecting Dr. Doom, Chris Evans, and Chris Hemsworth to do just such a heavy lift for this movie, because like these characters are not draws at all. And like, I think the only reason why I had more of a reaction to seeing like Gambit and Cyclops in this movie is at least those are characters that I like from the comics that you know, Cyclops is in a comic accurate suit, but all these other, I'm going to say it. I'm going to get in trouble. I don't care about the DEI Avengers. I'm sorry. I know that you desperately
really nobody does. It really nobody does. The Thunderbolts were interesting, but they're not really Avengers at all. And I talk about Thunderbolts specifically because they're the new Avengers, as they were titled the new Avengers. But we talk about everyone else as like the entirety of the group they're bringing together. Yeah, I don't care about them either. Not really at all. I didn't really care about the Fantastic Four people they brought in for the movie. I'm not really that connected to them. It was okay. It was an okay movie, but I don't really feel connected to any of these characters. The only one I really care about really is probably this Thor. This Thor, maybe. Alex says there's only been one Blade, and there is only going to be one. Yeah, pretty much.
They're even shoving Yelena in Spider-Man Brand New Day for a cameo because they are so desperate to push that character. But like, yeah, I don't care about any of these people. And Marvel,
Yelena's not that great of a character. She was fun in Thunderbolts as part of a team, but she's not that great of a character. I don't know why they're trying to keep pushing her everywhere.
With their inability to accept that these characters that we put out forth, you know, to get more diversity and inclusivity into Marvel, it's the same thing with all different Marvel. They cannot accept that these characters didn't work, even when their life depends on it. And so that's why we get this big trailer just flooded with them 95% of the time. But like that issue bleeds into other problems with this trailer. So once again, Chris Hemsworth Thor is doing a lot of heavy lifting because he's really the only person who's allowed to be himself here. Like as his own character, because Robert Downey Jr. is playing someone entirely different. But let's talk about that reveal for Chris Evans. And there's a reason why I keep referring to him as Chris Evans. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but I'm going to repeat it here. Chris Evans will not be appearing in this movie as Captain America. He will only ever be appearing in this movie as Steve Rogers. Why? And we've seen that in
well, because we also have what's his name, Sam Wilson. He's Captain America, and you can't really take away that title and role away from Sam Wilson because he's black. I mean, we have to have a black Captain America, but that's why Steve Rogers gets to be in pants and jacket. Oh yeah, that's what I'm here for. Give me that pants and jacket superhero. Give me superheroes in trench coats and like t-shirts and crap. Yeah, a lot more fun than the cool, colorful costumes they usually have.
In the posters for this, like the first official poster spread, Chris Evans.
Look, it's t-shirt and pants. It's like he's wearing like did Chris Evans even have to do much? He's like, okay, just whatever you're wearing, just come on set with it. They couldn't pay him enough to get in a costume, I guess. I also like Sam Wilson is like this. He looks more like the Falcon here because he's flying around. Let me see. Yeah, and also Yelena and a bunch of the other heroes. They're wearing like the one generic bodysuit that everyone wears. They might have a little bit different color, but they all wear they wear like the generic bodysuit. This like usually it's dark, just a random bodysuit, not a costume, but like a bodysuit. And you could look at them; it could just be from any movie. Pretty much any movie that has to do with spies or action, here's a bodysuit. At least Thor here has kind of a costume, and the Fantastic Four have costumes, and the X-Men fortunately have costumes. I hope that's also a Fraser beast. That'd be pretty funny. But these guys over here on the left there's your this random, just ordinary, drab, bland bodysuit brigade.
Even Steve Rogers is one of the most prominent characters on that big mural that they made, but he's not in the suit. Even though, like, he is, like, one of the most prominent characters because he's one of the biggest draws. So you would expect him to be in the suit as he's one of the biggest draws. But why isn't he? Well, they don't want to offend Anthony Mackie and them promising that he is Captain America. They don't want to offend any of the people circling the wagons around that casting, even though it failed on every level, because they sold all the people who are there for the agenda and you know, the idea of progressivism, that they do not want to admit that Sam Wilson Captain America failed. They were pushing this hard. That no, Sam Wilson is not merely just another Captain America. No, Sam Wilson is Captain America. When you say Captain America, you need to be thinking of Sam Wilson's version. And that's what they've done even with the synopsis of this movie. They list off the characters. They list off Steve Rogers and Captain America separately and Falcon separately. Why? Because Steve Rogers is just Steve Rogers. Captain America is Sam Wilson. And Falcon is now Joaquin Torres, who is Sam Wilson's sidekick. They are still trying to promote the idea that Sam Wilson is Captain America. When you think Captain America, that is who you need to be thinking of. Even though, like, his version was such a disaster, that's why they have to bring back Chris Evans as some sort of a draw. And that's why Chris Evans is more prominent on the poster for the movie, more so than Sam Wilson, Captain America. But they don't want to let that go. And that, you know, I think that that is the core problem with all of this. Even after everything, they cannot let go of the idea that all of these new characters that they added as
John Walker did nothing wrong and is most deserving of the Captain America title and S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, that's correct. So he did nothing wrong. He just fought bad guys like he's supposed to. And suddenly it's wrong for him to fight bad guys. He's a very decorated officer, even canonically within the MCU. Very decorated, like high-ranking, very well-deserving guy. But they just destroyed him. He got canceled within the universe. He got canceled because he killed a bad guy.
Legacy characters, most of which were done to make sure that they, you know, filled out the ideals of diversity and inclusivity in the future. They cannot admit. And for those of you who are upset with me to bring up that it was all for diversity and inclusivity, I have to, because that's the very reason why they can't admit that these characters were failures, because it was done, they were introduced for altruistic reasons, like good reasons, like that they are doing a positive thing for the future, according to them. And that is why they can never admit that they failed, and they can never let up pushing them. That's why Yelena is going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day, because after Scarlett Johansson, they ruined their relationship with her. And Brie Larson certainly isn't coming back. Now Yelena is being positioned as the new female face of the MCU because they need to have a female face in there. But yeah, that is what is just destroying.
Even though this is a franchise for men, like just you need to have like a male face, right? Be more concerned with the male lead instead of the female lead. The one says, "Have you seen Captain America: Brave New World? It came and went, forgotten like tears in the rain." I didn't. I was like, it's fine. I don't have to see this. It's another generic Marvel movie.
In this movie, they can't allow to let go of any of these D-listers. They don't have anyone else. And then when they do bring back the main characters like Steve Rogers, he can't even be Captain America. You are never going to see him in the suit because they still have to give it to these legacy characters and Sam Wilson, Captain America. And you will never see actual Captain America in this movie. Now, for the last half of this video, like I've expressed thoroughly, these characters and these versions of the characters are ones that nobody cares about. And that is what is making up most of the trailer. Still, this movie is going to get a lot of box office on its opening. Why? Because it's Marvel fans, and Marvel fans are going to be curious of what is...
Exactly. To your 90. All right, Chad. All right. Let's get down to business here. Let's get down to the extra video. And then we got that out of the way. All right, here we go. So I found this video. I thought it was really, really cool. It's an AI video. It's an AI fan film, but it's surprisingly good, especially if you are a fan of Warcraft. Now, you tell me how you like it. We'll see how it goes. But I quite enjoyed it. I was really impressed by what they did with it. Check it out. Check it out. So it's called Arthas, The Price of Vengeance. Let's go. You kind of know where this begins, right? It's the burning of the ships. Like they're in the crown, the ice crown. Arthas has just led his mercenaries to go burn down the ships to prevent his men from going home. And that's where we begin. That's where we begin. Check it out.
The men are settling in, my lord. Good. After everything, this place almost feels peaceful. It won't last. I never should have let
Arthas, the Arthas of the Arthas. Exactly.
you go through with this. This is madness. I've heard your counsel, Muradin. Now you either stand with me or stand aside.
Excuse me to interrupt, but what about our deal?
Prince Arthas. Quickly, my warriors! These murderous creatures have burned our ships and robbed you of your way home.
What? That was not the plan.
Damn beasts. Slay them all. In the name of Lord Aron.
It's pretty cool to see like what would happen, what would it feel like and look like in the actual if there was an actual movie or something like that. This part where Arthas leads these mercenaries and pays for these mercenaries and everything, and to circumvent his own men, led the charge to burn his own ships to prevent his men from escaping the Ice Crown. And then when his men arrive and see the ships are burning, like, what the hell happened? And Arthur's like, these monsters did it. Kill them.
See that every man stands ready at his post.
Yes, my lord.
Go on, lads.
I do like the magic stairs that Arthas had walked down. Where those stairs come from, Arthas? I like he kind of sounds like Henry Cavill a little bit, but also he kind of looks like if Adam Driver put on a blonde wig.
Careful with that wood, it's brittle in this cold. You know, you always did choose the worst times to start fixing things. I used to hate your patience.
Is that really what you came here to talk about? You lied to your men. You betrayed the mercenaries who fought for you. That's no the lad I trained. That's not King Tyrannus's boy.
I am no one's boy. I did what I deemed necessary.
What's happening to Arthas?
And see, by the way, if you had an issue with the 5, not says, I mean, have you seen Chris Hemsworth? That guy benches planets. I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense that you would add him in there. Yeah. Also, he's kind of one of the main characters from the original Avengers that kind of still has gravitas and still makes sense that he could be in a movie. So, yeah, of course he's in there because he's still like a fan favorite, more or less.
Is vengeance all that's important to you?
You weren't there. You weren't there to see what Mal'Ganis did to my homeland. What he did to innocent men, women, and children.
You're right. I wasn't there. Thank the light I didn't have to make that kind of decision. But even so, something's happening to you.
Here we go.
Prepare yourself. He's coming. Are you all right?
Borash Natur. Kardoras Guravik Neruba.
Daltoras Thalvik!
A little disappointed that Mal'Ganis is not green in any way, but it still fits. And also, they brought in like meat wagons, I think, which is pretty funny to see that in a movie like this.
This looks bad. We're completely surrounded. We can still destroy them. That rune's blade you've been searching for. Frostmourne. It's our only hope now. Well, lad, I have been having my doubts about the sword. And to speak truly about ye as well.
Are you telling me that you've figured out how to find it? Whatever your doubts are, you can't possibly have them now.
It'd be kind of cool if they did that in the game, where you could just launch men into the enemy base.
My lord, what are your orders? I have a bad feeling about this, lad. But I promised I'd see this through.
Let's see, Comic Wizard, remember when Arthas went through his face heel turn and killed his dad? Little kid me was shocked and devastated, witnessing the downfall of a great hero. Yeah, it's a really good arc. Really good tragic arc.
Hold this camp at all costs, Varric. Just buy me time.
Yes, my lord. Soldiers, form the lines! Hold the perimeter!
There's Medivh. I think he does show up in this scene too, in the game. I mean,
Turn back, mortals. Death and agony await you in this place.
I only care about the sword. If you won't step aside, I'll destroy you.
Then leave your life here. The blade is mine to guard.
If you've got something to do, now would be the time.
Let's see how you handle the fury of the storm, you oversized icicle! Turn back before it's too late.
There's Frostmourne. Arthas is made to Frostmourne. And we know what happens here. We're going to say goodbye to Meriden in a little bit, right?
Hold that. Look at the dais. There's an inscription. It's a warning. Whosoever takes up this blade shall wield power eternal. Look, there's another one. Just as the blade rends flesh, so must power scar the spirit. By the Titans, it's cursed, Arthas. We need to leave, now.
I would gladly bear any curse to save my homeland.
Arthas, no.
There goes Merlin as Arthas kind of sacrifices his own soul to wield the power of Frostmourne. I like how Frostmourne changed his armor too. I always thought he got that armor later, but I guess it changes his armor when he got the sword. That's interesting. Oh, there's Arthas' theme. There it is. Kind of cool. This the sword just kind of just disrupting and covering up all of his memories. There's Jaina. I assume that's Jaina. There we go. Let's see this what Frostmourne looks like in action from this level. I know what it looks like in the game, but what would it look like in a movie? It's a Eve the Beef. Thanks for the 2. Says I cried when Arthas betrayed Arthas, became an un-Arthas and killed his father Arthas. I think we've all been there, Eve the Beef. Absolutely.
So, you've taken up Frostmourne at the expense of your comrades' lives, just as the Dark Lord predicted. You are stronger than I thought.
You waste your breath, Mal'Ganis. I heed only the voice of the blade now.
You hear the voice of the Dark Lord. He whispers to you through the blade you wield. What does he say, young prince? What does the Lord of the Dead tell you now?
He tells me the time for your vengeance has come.
What? He can't possibly mean...
My blade. My blade has been drenched in the blood of my best friend, so you know it's good. And the rune blade, Frostmourne kills him permanently, because you can kill him a lot of times during the culling of Stratholme. He always comes back to life, but Frostmourne destroys Mal'Ganis permanently. That's one of the main things that Arthas wanted the sword for, was to slaughter Mal'Ganis.
Orbitas lacuna, goduna barak bodaum, lankashan detrimentum matus.
My son. The day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name. Arthas.
It's a little quirky and a little weird because it's AI, but I think I kind of liked it overall. It was really interesting to see that moment in history and Warcraft history made into a movie of sorts. It's very interesting. It's like it's been so long since I played it for the first time, but it is interesting to see it in kind of a movie form, you could say. Anyway, chat. We're going to go ahead and move over to stream memes. So, go ahead and lower your volume or raise your volume, because we did make it to Pillarman. So, lower your volume or raise your volume, whatever you prefer, chat. And Pillarman, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ay, 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 ay.
Oh, yes, Best Chat. Thank you much, everyone, for joining me today. Thank you much, Best Chat, for always being Best Chat and for your generosity. And now we're down to stream memes, chat. See me telling the random guy at the party that Home Resonance is the best song ever made. This seems oddly familiar. What is this? Yeah, interesting. It's either this medical text from 1915 shows different steps in mental development. Idiot, low grade imbecile, medium imbecile, high grade imbecile, moron. My dream job, unemployed with a mysterious source of income. Yeah, that would be a pretty cool job to have. A mysterious source of income. It wasn't that like Jeffrey Epstein? Didn't he have like a mysterious source of income, but no actual job? Every Sasquatch documentary is like Cletus had been up for 3 days drinking paint thinner, but he knew what he saw. 3 days. Can you imagine this, drinking paint thinner for 3 days? That's crazy. Maybe 2, but 3? My sister and I are having a mac and cheese battle to see who gets to cook it for Thanksgiving. Mine is on the left, hers on the right. Who y'all with? Both of you need to be. Like, this is mac and cheese. Like, which one is mac and cheese? Both of you need to be in prison. It was at a party, you know. They were a journey. Ordinary world, call to adventure, refusal of the call, threshold guardian, mentor and helper, woman as temptress. I guess, yeah, you want to see my girlfriend? The Dragon's Lair, death and rebirth. I mean, was this Mr. Frog's journey? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's pretty good. And Howard the Duck 1986, we see duck titties for the first time on big screen. This is because cocaine is a hell of a drug. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. It is horror and fantasy. Come on, Morty. Let's see. What is this? Henry Jekyll and Edward Hyde. These are works. The WOG character development. I like how when he doesn't want to do something, Adventure's like, okay, let me pull out a book real quick. Here we go, giant squid, and he pulls out a monster to scare him into doing things. It is kind of funny. Like he kind of finds the giant squid, he finds the Hound of the Baskervilles because he knows that he needs to, like, all right, let me give him some motivation. What are these? What are you? Oh man. Are you an angel? What are you, dense? Are you retarded or something? Who the hell do you think I am? I'm the goddamn Batman. Is he? Justice. Reporting a technology that uses machines full potential for the good of humanity, giving the machines sentience, which brings many ethical problems and potentially destroys humanity altogether. That would be pretty good. And is this thing me playing a Sony exclusive 2 minutes later? Just oh yes, eating pot. It's like a movie with a little bit of gameplay. North America, but simplified. Cowboyless land, cowboy land. And you want to live in the cowboy land. Beat the dead horse, push someone's buttons, skate on thin ice, beat around the bush, put in my 2 cents, knock it till I try it. Address the elephant in the room. Doom roasts wasp. It's clobbering. Yeah, just use the clobbering time. It's fun. Have some fun. Be fun, damn it. Be a little bit fun. Let's see. Writers, do you need to hate? You need to hate this guy. Audience, no, I don't think I will. I don't think so. I think I like this guy. How do you cure that which has arrived? Let's see. People have the gall to call this comic accurate. It kind of looks very Star Trek or Star Wars. One of those two. Who else but Shirt Pants? Invaders now. Invaders. All right, chat. All right. We're going to go ahead and end the stream for today. So thank you much everyone for joining me. Thank you much, Best Chat, for always being Best Chat. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you again, of course, next time.
On a cold winter morning in the time before the light, in flames of death's eternal reign, we ride towards the fight. When the darkness has fallen down